In 1986, the Chernobyl disaster turned a thriving city into a ghost town overnight. Over 50,000 lives were uprooted, homes abandoned, memories left behind, all because of an invisible force: nuclear radiation. Chernobyl wasn't the only one. Pripyat, Fukushima, silent cities frozen in time. What does it truly mean to lose everything? Not to war or disaster you can see, but to something that lingers in the air, the soil, the soul. If you walked through those empty streets, what would you feel? Let's uncover the chilling truth behind nuclear ghost towns, and the human cost that still echoes today. Pripyat, Ukraine. There's something deeply unsettling about a city frozen in time, a place where laughter and chatter once filled the air, but now only echoes remain. Welcome to Pripyat, Ukraine, a city that was home to thousands before it was abandoned overnight, leaving behind a ghostly landscape haunted by the shadows of a disaster no one could have predicted. Pripyat was a shining example of Soviet success. Built in the 1970s to house workers at the nearby Chernobyl nuclear power plant, it was a city designed for progress. By all accounts, it was a model city. Clean streets, well-maintained parks, schools, hospitals, and even an amusement park with a Ferris wheel. But everything changed on April 26, 1986. When the Chernobyl disaster struck, releasing deadly radiation into the atmosphere, Pripyat was ground zero for the fallout. In the immediate aftermath, the city's 50,000 residents were told they were being temporarily relocated for their safety. But that temporary evacuation turned into permanent exile. The city was abandoned, left to deteriorate and decay. Houses, schools, and stores remained locked up, with children's toys scattered on the floor as if people were going to return in the morning. Nature slowly began to reclaim the city, and now, decades later, Pripyat stands as one of the most poignant reminders of the destructive power of nuclear radiation. Visitors can still walk through its streets, but the sense of loss and desolation is palpable. Pripyat wasn't just abandoned, it was erased from the map, left to fade into the eerie silence of history. The world may have moved on, but Pripyat's story remains a chilling testament to the far-reaching consequences of nuclear disaster. Chernobyl, Ukraine. Chernobyl. The very name sends shivers down your spine, doesn't it? It's a word synonymous with catastrophe, a place that will forever be etched in history for all the wrong reasons. But while we often hear about the explosion at the power plant, we rarely focus on the city closest to the disaster, the city that faced its own dark fate. Chernobyl was a small town in northern Ukraine, tucked away near the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. Before the disaster, it was a quiet, working-class community with about 14,000 residents. When the explosion rocked the plant in 1986, the radiation released into the atmosphere was so dangerous that it immediately forced the evacuation of nearby areas, including the plant workers and their families. However, Chernobyl didn't receive the same immediate attention as Pripyat, even though it was still within the exclusion zone. While Pripyat was the first to be evacuated, Chernobyl, which was closer to the explosion site, wasn't immediately abandoned. Over the years, as radiation levels remained dangerously high, the government declared the city uninhabitable. Today, it stands in near silence, with abandoned buildings, empty streets, and long-forgotten homes. Some people have attempted to return over the years, but for the most part, Chernobyl remains a city that time left behind. Despite the radiation risks, there are a few brave souls who have ventured into this radioactive ghost town. The stories of those who lived through the Chernobyl disaster, the people who tried to rebuild, and the few who returned to witness the wreckage paint a haunting portrait of a place where life once thrived, but was ultimately destroyed by a force beyond anyone's control. Chernobyl is not just a city, it's a symbol of the nuclear age's greatest failure, a chilling reminder of the devastation that radiation can bring. Fukushima, Japan. When we think about natural disasters, we often picture earthquakes, tsunamis, or floods. But what happens when these forces of nature combine with a nuclear catastrophe? Fukushima, Japan, is the tragic answer to that question. On March 11, 2011, one of the most powerful earthquakes in recorded history struck off the coast of Japan, triggering a massive tsunami. The waves surged over the coastline, devastating towns and cities. But the true disaster began when the waves hit the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. The tsunami knocked out power, disabling the cooling systems in 3 of the plant's reactors, which led to explosions and radiation leaks. The damage was catastrophic. Within hours, the government issued an evacuation order for all residents living within a 20-kilometer radius of the plant. More than 150,000 people were forced to flee their homes, unsure of when, or if, they would ever return. Today, entire towns like Nami and Futaba lie abandoned, consumed by radioactive contamination. What once were bustling communities are now empty streets, silent schools, and homes left to decay. Though some residents are slowly being allowed to return after extensive decontamination efforts, large portions of the evacuation zone remain uninhabitable, with radiation levels too high for safe living. Fukushima stands as a haunting reminder of the risks involved in nuclear power. It is not just a city abandoned by disaster, it is a place where the scars of radiation will linger for generations. Atomic City, Idaho, USA. In the American West, there exists a town that was once a symbol of progress and technology, but now serves as a cautionary tale. Atomic City, Idaho is a name few may recognize, but its history is undeniably tied to the early days of nuclear experimentation. Founded in the 1950s as a hub for nuclear research, Atomic City was established near the Idaho National Laboratory. The town was designed to house workers who were involved in the development of atomic energy during the Cold War. At its peak, the population was about 1,000 residents, and it was equipped with the amenities expected of a thriving American town. But as the need for workers at the laboratory declined, and the area became associated with radiation risks, the town began to shrink. By the 1960s, Atomic City had all but disappeared, with many residents leaving for safer places. Today it stands as a virtually abandoned remnant of America's nuclear past. Though it was never officially closed like some of the other cities on this list, the town faded into obscurity. The nearby Idaho National Laboratory continues to function, but Atomic City remains a ghost town. The remnants of its homes, businesses, and even the water tower stand as eerie reminders of a place that once symbolized the bright future of nuclear power, but now serves as a stark reminder of its dangers. Atomic City may not have suffered a single catastrophic disaster like Chernobyl or Fukushima, but its abandonment serves as a quiet testament to the consequences of living too close to the nuclear age's evolving frontier. Kopachi, Ukraine. In the shadow of one of the world's most infamous nuclear disasters, lies a village that was not just abandoned, but completely erased from existence. Welcome to Kopachi, Ukraine, where the devastating fallout from Chernobyl's explosion didn't just force an evacuation, but led to an entire community being wiped off the map. Kopachi was a small village located only a few kilometers from the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. When the reactor exploded in 1986, the radiation levels were so high that the villagers were forced to evacuate immediately. But unlike other nearby areas, Kopachi's fate was far worse. Due to the immense contamination, the government decided to bulldoze the entire village, burying the buildings and homes in the surrounding ground. The entire village, including all its structures, was wiped away in an effort to limit the spread of radiation. Today, the remains of Kopachi lie buried under mounds of earth, with only a few items left behind as grim reminders of what once was. The small kindergarten building that remains standing has become one of the few visible markers of the village's existence. It's a haunting sight, as the surrounding area is now part of the Chernobyl exclusion zone, a place where few dare to enter due to the lingering radioactive contamination. Kopachi may have been erased from the map, but its ghost lives on in the stories of those who were forced to leave everything behind. Poliske, Ukraine. In the wake of the Chernobyl disaster, many cities and towns faced complete evacuation, but none may have felt the weight of isolation as much as Poliske, a small town that became another casualty of nuclear fallout. While many of the surrounding areas saw their populations gradually return, Poliske's fate was sealed by an invisible force that lingered long after the initial explosion. Poliske, a once thriving town just 60 kilometers from Chernobyl, had to be abandoned shortly after the reactor explosion. Unlike Pripyat, which was evacuated in a more organized manner, Poliske's residents were forced to flee as radiation quickly spread. The town, home to around 1,500 people before the disaster, became another casualty in the effort to contain the fallout. While most nearby towns have been slowly cleared for re-entry, Poliske remains uninhabitable, with radiation levels still too high for safe living. What makes Poliske's abandonment particularly eerie is that, unlike many of the other affected areas, it hasn't become the focal point of tourism or scientific study. Instead, it's been largely forgotten, left to slowly fade into the woods and fields that have since overtaken the area. The once bustling streets are now silent, and the few remaining buildings are slowly decaying as nature reclaims the land. While the area around Chernobyl continues to see efforts to decontaminate, Poliske serves as a chilling reminder that some places are destined to remain forever lost to history, victims of a catastrophe that left an indelible mark on the land and its people. Uranium City, Canada. In the rugged landscape of northern Canada, there's a town that once thrived on the promise of a bright future, only to be abandoned when the glowing promise of uranium turned into a radioactive nightmare. Welcome to Uranium City, Saskatchewan, where the rush to mine one of the world's most valuable resources ultimately left a town deserted and frozen in time. Founded in the 1950s, Uranium City was built around the booming uranium mining industry, which played a pivotal role in fueling nuclear energy during the Cold War. The town grew rapidly as workers flocked to the area in search of jobs in the mines. It was a place of industry and hope, with homes, schools, and local businesses supporting its population of over 1,500 at its peak. But the prosperity of Uranium City was built on unstable ground. By the early 1980s, as global demand for uranium dropped and the price of the resource plummeted, the mines began to close one by one. As jobs disappeared, so did the people. The town's infrastructure began to decay, and Uranium City, once a beacon of progress, was left abandoned. Today the ghost town is eerily quiet, with the remnants of its buildings left to crumble. Though the mines may have been the lifeblood of the city, the dangers of uranium contamination now serve as a haunting reminder of the town's toxic past. While the land surrounding Uranium City remains contaminated with uranium byproducts, the town itself stands as a silent witness to the consequences of mining in a resource-hungry world. The story of Uranium City is not just one of economic boom and bust. It's a cautionary tale about the environmental and human cost of pursuing power at any cost. Uravan, Colorado, USA. Nestled deep in the canyons of Colorado, a once thriving mining town now serves as a forgotten relic of the nuclear age. Uravan, a small town with a big secret, was abandoned after its role in uranium production became too dangerous to sustain. It's a place that was once alive with industry, but today it is little more than a faded memory, a warning of the dark side of the nuclear boom. Uravan was established in the 1930s as a mining town to extract uranium, a key material used during the early days of nuclear weapons development. By the 1940s, the town became a hub for the extraction of uranium ore, with the nearby mills processing the precious material for the U.S. military. The town grew rapidly, and with it came a sense of prosperity and promise. However, what was not well known at the time was the severe environmental and health risks associated with the mining process. In the 1980s, as uranium demand dropped and environmental concerns mounted, the U.S. government and environmental agencies discovered high levels of radiation in the area surrounding Uravan. The town's uranium waste, which had been carelessly disposed of, contaminated the land and water supply, making it uninhabitable. In the face of growing radiation concerns, the government decided to evacuate the town and clean up the site, a process that took decades. Today, Uravan is a ghost town with nothing but the remnants of its past left behind. Uravan stands as a stark reminder of the hidden dangers lurking beneath the surface of industries that once seemed harmless. The town's legacy is one of environmental degradation and the irreversible consequences of unchecked mining, making it an eerie and powerful symbol of the cost of nuclear ambition. And that's the haunting truth behind these abandoned cities, forever marked by the invisible force of nuclear radiation. Their stories serve as a powerful reminder of the risks that come with the pursuit of progress. If you found this video eye-opening, don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss out on our latest content. Be sure to subscribe to DwellScape for more fascinating stories from the world of architecture and history. And leave a comment below. Let us know your thoughts on the cities we covered today. We'd love to hear from you.